Chapter 19. Ankita, children. The use of the term children for the disciples of a master is very ancient and very common. The Guru Gita in Chapter 2, verse 13 says that the Guru removes the 8 bonds of the child, meaning the disciple, by cutting them off with his knife of mercy. This means, having cut the 8 bonds of the child or disciple by using his mercy as the knife. We have already referred earlier in this book to the intimate relation between the Guru and the disciple that prevailed in ancient days and which must still prevail in the case of very ardent disciples and who get everything from the Guru and who hope to achieve all that they want from the Guru. The Guru and his wife were father and mother to a disciple and fulfilled or more than fulfilled the functions of the God Father and God Mother. This was especially easy in those days because the disciple left his parents and home and village and went as a tender child into the care and custody of the Guru and remained there till he attained majority and his interest was identified with the interest of the Guru. As an excellent illustration, it was pointed out that the disciple Aruni gave up his life to save the water needed for irrigating the fields of his master from being lost to him. It has also been shown that the Guru himself should give up his life for the sake of his disciple. Baba expressly stated that he was giving up his very life for the sake of his devotee who is constantly dwelling and relying entirely upon him. In the Srimad Bhagavata, Rishabha says to his sons that a person who hesitates to save the life of his disciple is not fit to be called a Guru. Such being the intimate relation between Guru and disciple, one can easily understand that every possible facility is afforded to the disciple to rise to the full height or his stature, and the Guru himself being a man of perfect realization, the disciple attains the same. There being mutual love between the two and no sense of rivalry, everything known to the Guru is imparted. In more selfish persons, a father partitioning property between himself and his son, the former conceals something and does not give it in a share to the son. Worldly gurus, fearing that the disciple might eclipse their reputation, withhold sometimes part of their knowledge or power from the disciple. It was, however, recognized as a part of the work of a perfect Guru that he should turn the disciple into his own likeness. The contrast between Chintamani, the wish-yielding mythical gem, and the Guru is that Chintamani, or Kalpataru, that is, the wish-yielding tree, gives only what is prayed for, but the Guru gives more than what is known and what can be prayed for, such as altering the nature and being of the disciple, who knows not what he truly needs, and gives himself away to the disciple by converting him into his own likeness. God realization or self-realization is not a thing given, but the disciple is given the necessary preparation and facilities to attain that state. Then the saying of Tukaram becomes true. The Samartha Guru turns the disciple immediately into his own likeness. Allowing some latitude for hyperbole for purposes of effect, there is substantial truth in this saying. Hence one may recognize that the highest use which any sane man can make of a Guru is to get the very highest benefit possible, namely self-realization and God-realization. This is the highest but in the vast circle of sadhakas and of our listeners, there are many who would not think of the highest at all, but would have their own hankerings or longings, which are by no means to be treated with contempt. For instance, the achievement of the position of a child may be referred to as one of the smaller or preliminary gains of the disciple when approaching a Samartha Sadguru. That Ankita will be seen by the following stanza, which is part of Narayan's daily song sung in places like Sakuri and Shirdi. The song goes, where a sadhu, that is, a Samartha Sadguru, has earmarked a disciple as one for whom he undertakes complete responsibility for both spiritual and temporal welfare, and for the entire period of his life or lives, there every responsibility concerning the disciple's welfare rests upon the shoulders of that guru, that is, one who is God in respect of his power and nature. This appears to be a truism or platitude, but is really a revelation of the existence of the guru and of the child or disciple in present-day life. Strictly means having no maya or having crossed the borders of maya. This threefold guna, sattva, raja, and tama, constituting my maya, as the Gita says, is hard indeed for anyone to cross. But he who takes refuge and surrenders the gunas and body, mind, and possessions to me, Ishwara, crosses this maya, this illusion. So Guru is one who has crossed the threefold maya, who has identified himself with Ishwara, or the personal God, and is possessed of divine powers that can bear every responsibility of another soul, without regard to place, time, or extent of time, that is, whether it is generation or centuries. One may be aghast at the idea that any responsibility can be undertaken indefinitely or for centuries. But Baba, being a Samartha Sadguru, expressly undertook such responsibility. When Masapati was afraid that the Muslims would come and beat him for worshipping Baba with sandal paste, after he left the mosque premises, Baba assured him that neither those nor any other persons could molest him either in this life or in any future lives of his. Baba told the Bandar youth who prayed to him that he should be always with him in future lives, that he had already been in previous lives along with him and looking after him, and that for 3 more lives that were necessary for him to be born to work out his remaining karma, Baba would be reborn and be with him. Similar assurances were given for indefinite periods to Mr. Regé and others. One reading the Gospel of Sai Baba would notice that Baba referred to 10,000 years back, once saying, "I was here 10,000 years ago." He told Shama that for 72 previous births he had been with him, and that he had never touched him at all till then. That is, he recalls events of 72 previous births, and knows he has been protecting his devotee all these births, that is, over 2,000 years. Especially in this current life when Shama, an almost illiterate and helpless villager, was obliged to depend entirely upon Baba, Baba looked after all his interests and provided him and his children also with means of subsistence, with comforts and safety and position, as he provided to many others. When Gigi Narke was introduced to Baba, Baba declared that he had known him for 30 lifetimes. If a lifetime is roughly taken to be 30 years even, this takes us nearly 1,000 years back. Hence, to give an undertaking which appears to be definite in point of time is nothing for a Samartha Sadguru. The undertaking is also indefinite in respect of the sort of attacks that may befall a disciple. As Sri Rama once said, "If a person once surrenders and takes refuge with me, saying, 'I am yours,' I undertake to protect him from all creatures. This is my vow." Sri Rama does not limit either the time or the nature of the attack upon his dependents that are seeking protection. In a similar way, Sai Baba, who is nothing but Sai Rama, gave undertakings indefinite in point of time, persons or things attacking devotees or the place. As far as we are able to see, both Rama and Shirdi Sai kept up their promises that they made. See how Baba protected Gauri and the coward Basapa, birth after birth? Some people thought, and some may think even now, that a Samartha Sadguru or God-realized soul is wasting his time and attention in attending to such trifles as looking after the deeds and needs and comforts of the body of person age after age and in place after place. In Baba's Gospel, it is pointed out that a devotee named Damya Rasni objected to people going to Baba for temporal benefits such as employment, asking for money, to help with their children or cure of disease. But Baba says, a devotee objected to people going to Baba for temporal benefits. Do not do that. My men first come to me on account of that only. They get their heart's desires fulfilled and comfortably placed in life. They then follow me and progress further. I bring my men to me from long distances under many pleas. I seek them and bring them to me. They do not come of their own accord. I bring them to me. Things like health and employment may appear to be trifles to outsiders, but to the concerned devotees, they bulk so large as to shut out all ideas of spirit or spiritual progress. And therefore it is that great gurus, the Samartha Sadgurus like Sai, that make use of the devotees' necessity to turn to them into highly grateful devotees and persons prepared to march on under their guidance towards the goal through the way that they may chalk out. In fact, Baba said truly that though devotees thought that they themselves were going to Baba for such relief, it was Baba working unseen within them that was pulling them like a boy pulling a bird with a string. Baba once said, however distant, even thousands of miles away, my people might be, I draw them to myself, just as we pull birds to us with a string tied to their foot. Baba recognized no doubt the importance of paramartha, that is, reaching the goal of life, as mentioned by him in the Gospel, proclaiming that taking the devotees to their goal was his function, and incidentally he might take so many other steps. Baba, having assumed responsibility for disciples, regarded them as his trust and himself as their trustee. He said, I will not allow my devotees to be lost. I will account to God for all those that have been given to me, that is, all his children. When the position of a child seems to be so grand and excellent, that is, a true disciple, it is a wonder that people brush that idea aside and run after trifles and such. Baba said of himself to Mrs. Kashabai of Pune, this is a Brahmin, a white Brahmin, a pure Brahmin. This Brahmin will lead people to the Subra Marga and take them to the goal right up to the end. This is a Brahmin's masjid. To his child disciple, the mother Baba gives many high and precious gifts and gives them unasked. The mother does not wait for the child to say that the child is hungry, but at the appropriate time gives it excellent food. Similarly acts the Mother Baba. The wish of serious-minded Hindus is, "O Shiva, O Sai, graciously grant me two things. First, a life lived without misery, and secondly, a painless death at the close." Sri Sai, without waiting for such a prayer from H.S. Dixit, assured him soon after he went to Shirdi of both. As for life and the things of life, he told him, "O Dixit, why have you any cares or worries? All care and responsibility are mine." As for the second, Baba said that he would carry his kaka in a vimana. Tukaram, who went with his human body to heaven, is said to have got into a vimana that came to him. The Srimad Bhagavata and other scriptures say that by vimana, happy souls are taken up to heaven and enjoy in heaven. In the case of Mr. Dixit, no visible vehicle arrived at his death, but his death was extremely happy and absolutely without pain. He had spent long hours in blissful communion with Baba, along with Hamadpant, or Anna Sahib Dabolkar, and both got into the train. Both went to board the train at Villaparli, Kaka to go to Bombay and Dabolkar to go to his own station. Looking at their watches, they found that they were 3 minutes late. But luckily for them, when they went to the platform, the train also was 3 minutes late, and they were able to board it. Having got into comfortable berths, Kaka remarked to his friends, "How gracious Sai Baba is. We ourselves are late, and Sai had made the train late for us. For if he had already arrived in time and gone away, we would have to be stuck for long hours." Shortly after that, Dixit got into a comatose condition, and his friend thought that he was trying to sleep and put bolsters behind him. But soon the friend discovered that there was no breathing and no sign of hearing or of life. Thus, the actual death was so peaceful, so quick, and so happy. If this is not being carried in a vimana, what else is it? If one gushes with joy and gratitude to Baba at the time of death, one reaches Baba. Such happy death Baba has given to others also. But talking about Baba's children, his true disciples, Dixit is preeminently a model of the true child. About the death being painless, we must add that it is not merely the question of absence of pain at the particular moment of death. What is it that follows death? Life in the hereafter. As the Gita says, what a man thinks of at the last moment that he becomes in the next life. Whatever form or object a person thinks of all the while and at the moment of death, he is transformed into that object after death, that is, in the next life. As the scripture states, therefore at all times, O Arjuna, think of me, Krishna, and carry on your fight, with your mind and reason resting on me. When you die, you will surely reach me without doubt. These are highly important stanzas of the Bhagavad Gita, and the people at the close of their lives are naturally very anxious to see that they attain the goal of life by thinking of God at the moment of their death, and thus to reach Him. As this concerns the ultimate object of being, one cannot overestimate any help that can be rendered to the devotee to gain this. Some superficial people might fancy that the whole thing is the easiest, that is, at the moment of death, to think of God at once. For instance, keep a friend at the moment of death to remind one of God. They may be sustained in such a view by what happened to Ajamila. Ajamila was once a noble and pure soul studying the Vedas, thinking of God often, and living righteously. All of a sudden his way changed, and he discarded a virtuous young wife for no reason and took to a mistress of a low caste, and was living with her and got several children from her, the youngest of whom was named Narayan. When leading such a degraded life, death overtook him. At the moment of death, he suddenly, out of affection, called out for the youngest child, saying, "Narayan." Then his breathing stopped. Naturally, he ought to have been taken to hell for punishment for his degraded life. Therefore, Yama, the god of death, promptly appeared on the scene. Just at the same moment, angels appeared by his side in order to take him to heaven. Yama wondered and argued with the angels, stating that the dying or dead person was a sinner, fit only for hell. But the angels pointed out that the last word that he uttered with his breath was Narayan, the name of God. Then Yama's messenger said that was the only name of his child, and that he called out and that he was not calling out for God. Then the angels explained, as stated, the name of God, whether uttered involuntarily by a man merely as a sort of token for some worldly thing, or out of a joke, or fun, or for purpose of an oath, or for any other reason, still has its value in being uttered at the moment of death. All of his sins are wiped out, and the utterer must go to heaven. Therefore, Ajamila was ultimately taken to heaven. But all are not Ajamilas, and all have not his luck. Sai is the best. Therefore there is a Tamil song that says, people take refuge in the mighty in the hope that it would be of help when the mind and senses become weak. Though unworthy, I take refuge in you, since you had shown mercy even to an elephant. I will not think of you while in death pangs. So I am appealing to you now itself, O Sashaya, who was one of the 12 Vaishnavite saints. This corresponds with another scripture that states, O Krishna, at the time of my death, when the 3 humors of the body, that is, wind and phlegm and bile, choke the throat, where is the chance of my uttering your name to benefit by? So immediately now let my mind, which is in Rajaguna, turn into a Hamsa, the royal swan, and enter the cage of your lotus feet. This is the same in effect, and means, let us remember God now and be in Him at once. Sri Sai Baba made and makes his children remember him and pronounce his name constantly by giving them frequent opportunities, so many times each day, by perpetual provision of needed comforts and necessities, pain or trouble enough to compel frequent or constant prayer and humble supplication, as well as provision of satsang and surroundings of various sorts, serving as reminders or reflections of his graciousness and powerful yet merciful being.